Okay, so starting off, it comes in this box that says Jaclyn Hill Palette Volume 2 Morphe. It's really cool. I kind of do like the detailing. It has like white cardboard and then has like silver on the sides, and then also the palette does come protected in like this bubble wrapping, and then on the back it says Morphe x Jaclyn Hill. There is a message over there, and then it has this stunning picture of her. I've got to say, all of her campaign pictures was stunning. They were all stunning. I literally was pretty much sold on the campaign pictures. And now on to this guy, which is the actual palette. This, I feel like, is pretty standard packaging. Her first palette definitely had the same packaging. I don't think it had the glossiness like this one does on its first launch, because I know that packaging was revamped a couple times. But I like that it's glossy so that you could just wipe off, you know, any makeup that gets on there. And it also has the silver detailing, and then on the back it's just plain white. And then we open up the palette and you get a plastic little paper, and here we have the colors. I've got to say, I've really like never ever been sold on a palette this quick. It usually takes me a lot more time to think about it, but just looking at this color story, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but these colors are right up my alley. You've probably seen from my tutorials and stuff. I use these type of colors a lot, and I think it's a beautiful palette for the summer, and just in general, you do have a lot of neutrals, you have a lot of pops of color, but they're not like crazy blues and greens that are more difficult to wear. They're more like burgundies, purples, something more easier to wear but still kind of bold at the same time, which I enjoy because I feel like for some people who like to stay neutral but like a little glam sometimes, this palette is perfect for them. And the OG was kind of the same thing. Also, I will be doing a comparison video between the OG and this palette. That's why I'm not showing the OG in this video, but my next video, keep an eye out for that. Alright, and I do think there are way too many swatches on the internet right now. There are 35 shades in here, and it retails for $39. Morphe palettes do tend to be cheaper, but Jaclyn's formula is a lot better than Morphe's formula. Personally, I do think so. So it might be a little bit more expensive to formulate, so I kind of understand why there's a higher price point, and you are getting 35 shades, and I think with an affiliate code with tax, it ends up being about $37. I actually brought this during Morphe's sale weekend when they had $10 off a 50 order, so I brought 2 more things, and then I ended up paying all for that, like $45. So I ended up saying about, I'd say like $5 on it, so I ended up paying like $34. So I'm just going to do a few swatches for a few colors. I'm not going to do it for all of them, or else we'll be here forever. And yeah, alright, let's get to swatches. So one of my big things in palettes are blacks, so thank God there's a black in the palette, and there's a matte white shade. I feel like those are needed in palettes because the white shade is just easy if you want to put a little highlight on your brow bone, but you don't want to use a sparkly one, which I feel like the matte shade was missing in the OG. And then the black, of course, to deepen any look. If you want to do an eyeliner, you should have a black there. Now, if you notice inside the deeper mattes, there are tiny little reflex of shimmers. I don't think too many people have mentioned that, but there are, and I've said this in the Tati Beauty review too, that those little shimmers that you see, sometimes they don't appear on the eye, and that is because they are actually formulated to blend better, because the little sparkles in it do give it that bit of moistness and needs to blend easier instead of just a harsh chalky matte, you know? So I do appreciate the fact that it is formulated in that type of way where it would be easier to blend. Black. Okay, I feel like I am usually able to tell how good a black is from the swatch, because if a black is patchy on the swatch, because it's such an intense color, it usually does end up being patchy on the eyelid. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Now, I just did 3 swipes. That never happens to me. I usually end up swiping a lot more. So I'm going to take that and just do a quick swipe down my arm. Wow. Just wow. I honestly wasn't really planning on buying this palette, and then I went to Morphe and oh, by the way, if you can tell, I've been waiting this whole time to swatch these shadows and use them, but I've been waiting for this video because I didn't want to do anything off camera. I wanted to show you guys the full shebang on camera, even though I kind of cheated because I did swatch it in store. Let's just pretend I didn't cheat though, okay? But as you can see, the black is very pigmented, and you saw how many times I swirled it in. That is pretty good for a black. This reminds me of the Tati Beauty black because it basically swatches the same. Now let's do a shimmer. I've got to say, in store, the shimmers, they were a bit panned down already, which was insane, but they didn't swatch the best. They seemed a bit more hardly pressed. We'll see how they go on the eyelids, and the pinks looked really nice too. So let's swatch Ride or Diamonds. This looks really stunning. And let's swatch that. Okay, like I said, I think the shimmers are a bit more hardly pressed inside the pan, so that's why there isn't too intense like metallic foil payoff, but I think this is nicer as like a shimmery topper, I'd say. I'm also really loving the shade Talia, so I'm going to swatch that. Okay, this one definitely seems a bit more softly pressed, and as you can see, oh, this is a perfect example. As you can see, this one is a lot more foiled and metallic and like, oh, and like melted rather than this one. This one is a bit more just like shimmery, like a topper. So you can see the difference right there, what I mean. And now let's do about like 2 more. I'm gonna take, ooh, this is so hard. I think I want to do Live in My Best because it's like a red, and reds are, again, very different. Wow. Oh my god, wow. Wow, I am shook. Thank God I got this palette. Wow, 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 wow. Oh my god. If these shades apply as nicely on the eyelids as they're swatching, Jaclyn really did outdo herself with this one. And I also want to do the yellow one called No Joke. Just 3 little swatches in the pan when I usually do like a million. That is a really nice yellow. The James Charles palette, the yellow in that one swatches nothing like this one, I've got to say. That one is also a pressed pigment. I'm pretty sure some of these are too. I don't recall if she said that, but that one definitely does not swatch as well as this one does. So these are what the swatches look like. Like I said, I didn't really go into a lot of shades or into the purples just because I feel like they have been swatched many times on YouTube. If you guys want to see the swatches, literally just go to Jaclyn Hill's video and you'll see them. I mean, these shades swatch as good as they swatched in her video, so I doubt that there was any gimmick going on over there. And I also want to mention one thing with the palette that I do kind of wish there was a mirror here, but I do remember her mentioning that it is a bit more expensive to put a mirror on the palette, so if it did keep the cost low, then I don't mind it, but if they could have added a mirror in the price point, it would have been nice. I also want to say that say what you want to about Jaclyn Hill. I know a lot of people don't trust in her anymore. Personally, I have been through kind of her more bad launches. I did buy the Vault, I did buy her lipsticks, and it didn't work out for me, and I'm still here buying this palette because at the end of the day, I'm here for the product. I'm not here for the person behind it. Yes, I do think it's nice if Jaclyn redeems herself during this launch, and I do think she is already. It looks like it's going great. But I just want to say that I'm more here for the makeup. If I'm interested in the makeup, I will buy it. But sometimes the influencer behind it does kind of influence your opinion and your wanting behind it. But I've been very critical about her products before. I've said about the lipsticks how I feel. I've went through it and I've been critical about that, and I will continue to be critical about the product, not the person. I don't think she needs to be receiving hate for herself as a person and commenting on her weight and what she looks like. That is another level. I can't even imagine like having a heart to comment on someone like that. But products, criticize it as you will, because at the end of the day, you are paying your money for it. Alright, let's get into the application process on the eyelids. Ooh, before we get into the video, I also want to quickly mention the fact that they have the shade names on the palette. Oh my god, thank the Lord. Okay, so I've gone ahead and primed my lids with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I will be doing 2 different eye looks, one on this eye, one on this eye. I'm thinking to do one more matte and fiery red and pink tone, and then one kind of more purple, shimmery, maybe a halo cut crease going on type of tone. So I'm going to be starting off with the halo cut crease first. And I also want to mention that I've only primed my lids with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in, I think, natural beige. Yes, natural beige. And I haven't done anything else. Literally, I haven't even done my brows. So everything is all natural. Now, I'm so excited to get into putting those colors on my lid. I really want to see how these apply. And after swatching them, woohoo! I am excited to put them on the lids. So I'm taking up my Morphe R36 brush and I'm dipping into the shade Ooh Hello. Okay, I've been trying to say this ever since her video came out and I cannot say it. So we are just going to stick with my suckish ooh hello and just, you know, go in and say the shade name. Okay, so I'm just tapping into that a few times. That's all I'm gonna do because I don't want there to be too much fallout on my lids. And as you can see, there isn't too much fallout on the pan, but there is a tiny bit, so do keep that in mind. So first I'm starting off on the edge. Oh wow, okay. Okay, Miss Hill. Wow, okay. It didn't look like a lot when I put it on the brush. Like, it kind of just looked like, I don't know, it didn't look like the brush had that much pigment. Hold on, I'm trying to focus and show you guys. But it didn't really look like the brush had that much pigment, as you can see. But definitely a lot did transfer on the eye. So that is pretty nice. I'm going to softly start blending that up. I'm starting off with the deeper shades first, and then I'm going to go more into the lighter transition shades. And now I'm going to keep building some more closer to the lower lash line and the outer corner, and then I'm going to be bringing that in to the inner third of my eye. Okay, so right off the bat, the pigment was amazing. It seemed to have blended really nicely. As you can see, there isn't any patchiness. It's all blended and nice. I do want to mention that I feel like the shade is really similar to one of the shades in the Jaclyn Hill Vault Bling Gloss palette, but this formula is definitely way better than that one. I think that one was called Pizza. If you guys want me to do a comparison between that palette, because I do have the Bling Boss palette, and a lot of those shades are kind of similar to the ones in this palette, so if you guys want me to do a comparison, definitely let me know, and I will also do that video for you. Alright, now let's dip into another shade. Now I'm going to go into the Morphe M455 brush. It's kind of like the smaller, more detailed pointer brush, and I'm going into Stay True. I love that shade name because always stay true to yourself. And I'm going to barely dip into that one just because these smaller, more pointed, like, detailed brush do, like, take a bit more of a punch and pigment. And I'm going to start blending out the outer corners of my crease. Okay, wow, if you want to see a bit more pigment going onto your eyelid, definitely use a smaller, more packed and dense brush, and it will definitely deliver you pigment. Now I'm going to take the shade Grateful on this BH Cosmetics Studio Pro number 8 brush, just dipping into that a couple more times. This is a more muted, I'd say like peachy, it has like a peachy undertone, but it is like a brownish nude, and I think this will be really nice to blow out the colors on our crease. Now I'm going to go back in to the shade Stay True and then Oh Hello and build up that intensity again. Now I'm going to take my Too Faced Born This Way concealer and this flat definer brush, and I'm going to start carving out the halo cut crease. Okay, so I just went off camera and kind of made the cut crease a bit more higher just because I kind of am thinking to do a negative space in the middle and then add the colors on the side. So now I'm going to go back in to the mattes. I'm going to take first Stay True, and then I think I'm going to do Oh Hello on the edges once again. Now I'm going to take my finger. I honestly always use my finger with shimmers. I don't ever use brushes, and I think, I don't know, choosing a shimmer is honestly so hard right now. But I think I'm going to take a Moment on my finger, and then I'm going to layer on Ride or Diamonds as a topper on top of that. And now for the last step, I'm going to take Grateful and blend everything out all together so that it ties in nicely and all blended. Okay guys, so that is it for this look. Now I'm going to take a makeup remover wipe and wipe off all the fallout underneath. As you can see, there isn't much fallout, which is amazing because like I said, the shades we use do tend to have a lot of fallout if they were shades in like another palette. So this is really nice. This is all I'm experiencing. Now I'm going to wing out the edge of my eye to make the all eyeshadow go woo. Okay, so now for the lower lash line, I'm going to take what's left with Stay True on my brush and just buff that out on the lower lash line and then blend that out with Grateful once again. Now I'm excited to try I'm In It and put that as a beaming white shiny shade on my inner corner, again with my finger, of course. This one also kind of has a pinky undertone, as you can see, so it really ties in the look together perfectly. I absolutely love the way this look turned out. Everything was really easy to blend. Of course, I did have to blend out the shades a bit more than I would with, let's say, like a warm brown, just because they are purples and pinks, so it is, I guess, more vibrant colors to work with. But for the colors that they blended very nicely, and as you saw, they had a lot of pigment. I'm honestly very wowed by the pigment. The shimmers, I wasn't the most blown away by the purple shimmer that we used in the middle. Like I said, I do feel like it was a bit more hardly pressed into the pan. Same thing with Rider Diamonds, but I think Rider Diamonds made a nice topper. And even though I had to go in a lot with the purple shimmer shade we used, it's still, like, I still was able to build it up to the vibrancy that I wanted. So it was nice. It just would have been nicer if it was off the bat, like more pigmented and a bit more softly pressed. But other than that, I enjoyed using all the shades in the palette. I think they all blended together seamlessly. And now let's do the other eye and do our full matte smoky eye. Okay, so for this look, I'm going to start off with the shade Crazy on my Morphe M573 brush. Like I said, I'm also going to dip into this about 3-4 times. And that's the pigment you see on the brush, and that's the pigment in the pan. Now, there is a bit of fallout with this shade, as you can see in the pan, but nothing too crazy. It's not messing up the whole palette and blowing everywhere. So now let's apply this on the lid. I'm going to put this on the base of my eye and just build it up all over the lid towards the lower lash line, and then we're going to blend with other colors up from there. I'm going to keep packing on this color and then slowly blending it up and blowing it out onto the outer corner / outer lid. Okay guys, for the deep shade that is, wow, I am blown away. That looks really nice. I think this is probably the best way a deep purple has ever blended on my eyelid like this. Now I'm going to dip into this beautiful red shade called Living My Best. Ooh, I'm vibing with that shade. And I'm taking my Morphe M506 brush, dipping into that, like I said, like 3 times. I'm also going to be tapping off a little excess. This is a Boom Boom Bright Red. This is in your face. I'm so excited to blend out my crease with this color. Okay, wow, that is vibrant. I definitely have to tone this out and blend it out for sure. So I'm going to take my Morphe M514 brush and dip into the shade Positivity, because we are spilling the tea. Okay, anyway, it is like this beautiful coral shade, and I think it'll look nice with this look, and if not, well, we gotta suck it up and deal with it. Now I'm going back with the red shade, and then the deep plum shade that we used first. Now I'm going to take a fluffy crease brush. This is the Real Techniques Multitask Eye Brush. And I'm dipping into the shade Perfectionist, and I'm going to blend just everything out with this. I'm really curious to see how the black Temptress shade does on the lid. What I do often is I take a black eyeshadow and I use that just as an eyeliner, like a smoky, nice, subtle eyeliner. So I'm going to do that with this look because I think it'll look really nice and smoky. And I'm taking my Kylie eyeliner brush, dipping into that a few times. And I'm going to start winging out an eyeliner on my lid. Okay, we are done with that black eyeliner, and I want to make a note that when you have an already kind of dark shade like that dark plum that we use, sometimes it's harder for those blacks to show up pigmented on the lid. And this one knocked it right out of the park. It is there, it is vibrant. I can see a difference between my lid shade and the eyeliner, but it still blends together and looks nice. Now I'm going to take a makeup remover wipe once again and wipe it off and make that sharp wing that I love. So now I took a Morphe E36 brush and dipped into the shade Livin' My Best. I love how vibrant that red is, and I kind of want it somewhere on my eye by itself, so I'm just going to put that under the lower lash line. Okay, that is that. That somehow ended up looking more purple than red. I'm not going to question it, but I just want to mention that. I did expect it to be a bit more vibrant of a red, but I did take a bit of the outer quarter and kind of blend it in as I was doing the red, so that could be why. I also didn't take too much pigment on the red while dipping into my pan just because I didn't want my lower lash line to be too insane. Now I'm going back into the black shade with the same brush that I used to do my eyeliner, and I'm just gonna drag that in and go really, really, really close to the lower lash line to give it that smoky model cat eye effect. Now I'm going to take my finger and dip into the shade Talia and use this as an inner corner. Wow. Oh my god. This is the type of pigment of a shimmer that I was expecting from all the shimmers. I'm also going to pop some of the matte white shade called Certified on the brow bone. Okay, wow, that inner corner shade reminds me of the Fenty Beauty Trophy Wife highlighter, which is out of this world, and I think this pretty much gives us the same effect, if not even a bit more metallic and foiled. This shimmer is definitely the best one in the palette. The other ones that I used, which was only 2, but they were a bit more hardly pressed. Not as insane as this one, but they were still beautiful and easy to build up, but just not on this level. Now I'm going to put on lashes and then come back to give you my final thoughts. Alright guys, this is the final looks. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what I think. I think throughout this video I've mentioned enough. Mattes are beautiful for the colors they are. They are beautifully formulated. Honestly, one of the best times I've ever had doing a bright color like this. This formula is definitely way better than the James Charles palette formula for sure, especially since the more purple and pink shades, the similarities are not there. I think these are a bit more creamier and easier to blend, and the pigment is a bit better, even though I believe the James Charles palette has pressed pigments. So I'm confused why this one has more pigment. Anyway though, that's what it is. She did a great job with this formula. I do believe in the Jaclyn Hill formula in the OG palette. I think the formula was insane. In this palette, I think it's even more insane, and these colors definitely call out to me a bit more. And I feel like ever since this palette came out, everybody's been kind of throwing the OG under the bus, but I still love my OG palette. It is the perfect go-to palette to get any type of neutral look, or you know, but this palette is more like for those makeup lovers that want to go more out of the box. So I think they both have different occasions. I will be doing a comparison video between them, so that will be the next video. And if you guys want the Bling Boss palette versus this palette, I will also be doing that video. And I enjoyed both the looks. I was blown away by the quality and how everything went on my lid, especially since it wasn't appearing as, you know, I guess vibrant or pigmented on the brush, but it definitely applied very pigmented. So those are my final thoughts. As for the palette, I do wish there was a shimmery white that didn't have a pinky undertone, just because you kind of need one brightening like shimmery inner corner shade, but it is nice that you have the white bone shade. I do think these 3 transition shades weren't all necessary to look like that. I do think they could have been a little more different, and with Grateful in the palette too, it's all very similar in person, especially I'd say Comfort Zone, Perfectionist, and Grateful. Those are all very similar, so I don't think she needed to put 4 shades around the same, you know, color. But other than that, I do love the selection of it. I think you can make a ton of looks. Okay guys, that completes my final thoughts. I had so much fun doing this video with you guys. I've got to admit it took a bit of time, and I know this palette launched on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. I brought this palette on Monday. I might be a little bit late to the game, but hey, I still made it. Usually I'm like months later to the game, so this is still pretty early for me. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. And without further ado, guys, I'm gonna peace out. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon. Bye!